विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ एवं उपाधिभेदात् जीवेश्वरभेददृष्टिः यावत्पर्यन्तं तिष्ठति तावत्पर्यन्तं जन्ममरणादिरूपसंसारः न निवर्तते तस्मात् कारणात् न जीवेश्वरयोः भेदबुद्धिः स्वीकार्या। सो एवं उपाधि भेदात् जीवेश्वर भेद दृष्टि यावत्पर्यन्तं तिष्ठति तावत्पर्यन्तं जन्म मरणादि रूप संसारः न निवर्तते। Evam, in this manner, as long as the perception of difference between this individual and the Lord, this it's due to upadhi only, where it remains. That's on the part of jiva, of course. For our Ishvara, there is no Veda, even because everything is he alone, and therefore he doesn't have ignorance also. He doesn't have I notion itself. Wherever the I notion arises, a limitation definitely is going to arise. But he doesn't have. And so, from the jiva standpoint, they are saying, so long as this perception of difference between this individual and the Lord remains, till then this samsara also remains. And that is how jiva has a samsara, because of the Veda drishti. Ishvara doesn't have a samsara, because he doesn't have a Veda drishti. We are all included in Ishvara. And therefore, as such, he doesn't have any Veda drishti. Even though we say Upadhi Veda is there. So Maya Upadhi and Avidya Upadhi, and therefore, so if Ishvara also should feel that I have Maya Upadhi, I don't have Avidya Upadhi, and therefore he looks Jiva from the Avidya Upadhi and he finds, oh, he is different from me. If you understand that, if that kind of a Veda drishti is there, then definitely he also will be samsari. But since he doesn't have that Veda drishti, means Avidya is included in Maya. There is no separate upadhi. Could you follow what I am saying now? So avidya is included in Maya. Don't think this avidya and Maya are two different things. Otherwise, if it is a different thing, then he also looks at it. Ishvara looks at the jiva from avidya standpoint. Oh, he is different, and he has a Maya upadhi. Like I am looking at you, and I have already a conclusion that you are different from me. How? And that's what I'm going to talk you. Because how is that difference? Ultimately, I'm not saying you that you are a different consciousness. No one can see consciousness. Anybody in the world can prove to me that, Swamiji, I have found out, I have separated consciousness from you and I'm seeing it. And your consciousness is different from me, the consciousness. No way you can see consciousness. You can all this, what you can see is just upadhi. That you can see my mind perhaps, or you can see my senses. You cannot see, of course, but then because for you also, the senses are not that, available for pratyaksha. So then for you, my indriyas are not pratyaksha. But you can assume, let's say, oh, Swamiji is seeing me and laughing and telling me Hari Om. Oh, therefore he must be seeing. So you can definitely use inference, no problem. But you can reach to me in terms of knowledge only for upadhi, not more than that. That's all. And therefore upadhi Veda is there. Therefore he has a Maya upadhi, I have avidya upadhi, and I'm Jiva, he is Ishvara. So from he is seeing me, so he can also reach up to the upadhi, and he is seeing through avidya upadhi only he is reaching me, and therefore he finds, oh, he is different from me. He is different from me. Only difference occurs due to upadhi. I see your gross body, it's the object of my knowledge, and you see my gross body, and you decide, yeah, we two are different from each other. Upadhi is going to be different, but for Ishvara it is not different because avidya is included in that. And therefore, basically, from everything comes out from unmanifest, and unmanifest is totally non-separate from Ishvara, from Brahman, and therefore, basically, it's all one knowledge. Like the dreamer, whatever the number of jivas are created by a dreamer doesn't have that sense of duality, that I am different and the jivas in the dream world are different. No. He knows everything is me alone. Dreamer knows whatever the jivas are created in the dream world or the living beings, he doesn't have that kind of a dvaita buddhi. And therefore, but jiva may have because that avidya is there. And due to avidya, I sense is there. And whenever I sense arises, that I has to pervade. And it can pervade up to this physical body. That's all. And therefore, basically, this is how, and therefore, definitely a sense of limitation also will be there. And when the sense of limitation is there, definitely the Dvaita Buddhi also is going to be there. So this perception takes place, like I am seeing you, and therefore I am different from you, or you are different from me. Well, that is a wrong conclusion. I see you is the right thing, but I am different from you, or you are different from me. That conclusion based on that perception is a wrong perception. And we have seen that just because I see you, you cannot be different from me. That's what we generally think, that I see you, I hear you, etc. And therefore, we have also, in fact, initially we told also, the object of hearing is different from the hearer, etc. We used to tell like that. But actually, if you look into that, it's that there is no duality based on a perception. We cannot prove a duality based on perception. That's what I wanted to convey. So in dream, you see many things, but it doesn't mean that, they are different from you. So, and that is what in dream is happening. I see varieties of the things. I see a mountain there, I see ocean there, but definitely, even though I am seeing it, but I don't conclude that they are different from me. All are me alone, right? And that is what, right now I am seeing you, I conclude that I am different from you. The duality is correct. That is due to avidya present in my mind. So it's not real actually. So this is what the thing is. Anyway, but Swamiji, one other person is there, then you say, okay, the duality is not there. But then there are many things. You are seeing not one thing. Dvaita means you see many things. And then all are different from you, definitely. Well, it is not correct. Why it is not correct? Because ultimately in dream also you see many things. In dream you see everything. You see sentient things, you see non-sentient things. You see varieties of the oceans and roads and seashore and sea and everything. And there are birds, everything you see. But yet, your conclusion is ultimately that you are everything. Even though you see different from you in dream, but ultimately you know it is all nothing but within you. And therefore, same way, just like dream, same way here also in the waking state, everything looks different. But perception is there that I see ocean, therefore I am not the ocean. I see a mountain, therefore I am not the mountain, etc., etc. So we have that kind of a conclusion, but basically it is not correct. So since there is the perception is there, and therefore duality is there, therefore is to be cancelled. Perception is there. Don't go further, in concluding anything. So this is how we have to think. In fact, perception proves non-duality. Based on perception, I say we cannot say there is a duality, but we go one step further now. Since there is a perception, it proves non-duality. Now this is another thing. Since I am seeing you, there is consciousness. Consciousness, okay, you are conscious because you are seeing me. That's all right. But how can you say I am conscious? Because I am object of your knowledge. And therefore, you cannot tell me that I am conscious. The object also is a consciousness. Yeah? Object cannot be seen unless there is a base of a consciousness. So basically, object cannot be away from the consciousness. Because you say, I see an object. I see you, or I see an ocean, let's say. I see ocean. But then you say ocean is. That's all. Ho gaya, काम. Ocean is. Therefore consciousness is. Yeah. Ocean is, therefore consciousness is. If the isness is shared. Isness is shared. Isness is a common factor between ocean and consciousness. There is no separate isness for ocean and separate isness for consciousness. In fact, the consciousness is. And therefore, consciousness is the existence. And ocean, in fact, borrows the existence from the consciousness. And that is how you are not able to separate. Can you separate ocean from consciousness? If you can separate, Swamiji, this is my ocean, and this is ocean, object of my knowledge, and this is I, the consciousness. You cannot tell me. It's within consciousness. That shows that ocean is non-separate from the consciousness. That shows that ocean has no separate existence. Ocean is mithya. So, since I am seeing a ocean, it proves there is consciousness. That's all. Ocean consciousness, object consciousness. And the seer of the ocean, that proves that seer consciousness. And the seeing takes place. The seeing cannot take place without consciousness. And in fact, seer is, consciousness is. Then ocean is, consciousness is. And seeing is, consciousness is, in terms of thought. So everything is ultimately consciousness. In one consciousness, all the three things are there. And therefore the perception proves non-duality. Wait a minute. Because that's all right, but then why can't we say that ocean is, consciousness is, therefore, ocean is, therefore consciousness is. Why can't we say that way? Ocean is, therefore consciousness is. I want to say that. Since I can think, I am. One person said like that. One French philosopher drinking a 5-liter coffee and sitting in a Paris restaurant. They drink so big. A small cup is not enough. Anyway, what I am saying is he thought like this. And since I can think, therefore I am. Then ultimately, of course, for God's sake, he said that, oh, no, that's not correct. Since I am, I can think. Right? Since I am, I can think. How did he prove, How did he prove? He found, even his mind has gone blank in absence of drinking a cup of coffee. Still, he found he is. to tell that my mind has become blank, I need one strong cup of coffee. And therefore, basically, I am is not replaceable. Yeah, therefore I can think, therefore I am is not correct. I am, therefore I can think. Same thing applies here. Same thing. French philosopher must have been in the past a Vedantic student. Therefore, see, the ocean is therefore I am. Can't, sir. It's not correct. Because ocean cannot displace consciousness. Ocean, then consciousness can displace ocean? Need not. Need not. Ocean automatically gets displaced. Now pan is, consciousness is. Then clip is, consciousness is. What is invariable factor which cannot be displaced by a pan, by a clip, by ocean, by a mountain? Nothing. They cannot displace, sir. They are mithya thing. They are non-separate from me. Anything which is mithya cannot displace satyam. Pot can never displace, pot cannot kick out the clay. Never. Clay can kick out the pot. But pot cannot kick out the clay. You could follow what I am saying? And therefore, for ocean consciousness, pan consciousness, dream consciousness, and then mobile consciousness, clip consciousness, computer consciousness, consciousness is invariably present. It can never be displaced because it is satyam. Which can never be displaced is satyam. Which automatically get displaced or displaced, well, they are all mithya. And therefore, basically, only ocean ocean is automatically proves, ocean is means I am seeing a ocean and therefore ocean is, etc. Proves, the perception proves the, in fact, invariable consciousness, and that too non-dual consciousness. Because the seer consciousness, ocean consciousness, seeing consciousness, ultimately one consciousness alone appears in these three forms. Or all the three are non-separate from the consciousness. That is what has been told in that Bhuma Vidya in Chandogya in 7th chapter. Bhuma means this Brahman or Atma is like this, who is in the form of this triad. Seer, object of seeing, and the seeing itself. All these three are nothing but one consciousness. And therefore I am seeing you proves the non-dual consciousness. That's all. So I see you and therefore you are different from me. No, it is not correct. There I see you, therefore I cannot prove duality. But I see you, therefore I prove non-duality. So this is how we have to think. The very isness belongs to anywhere in an object of perception, belongs to consciousness. And therefore consciousness is invariable, means consciousness is ever existent. And that ever existent consciousness provides the existence to the object of consciousness. And therefore, ultimately, everything is within one consciousness, as non-separate. So an object cannot be away from the consciousness and still be perceived. And therefore, non-duality, well, it is proven. And this is how so it's a question of, the problem of this, our orientation of a duality is because this erroneous, perception, we are under the grip of erroneous perception of duality, that I am Jiva, this is Jagat, and this is Ishvara, etc., etc. That kind of it's a erroneous perception, but it is born of the ignorance. Ignorance is anadi, and therefore this notion also, this erroneous perception also is well rooted in me, and therefore it takes time. It takes time to go. It will not go just by one class of Tattvabodha. Don't think. You may understand, the clarity will be there, but then definitely it will appear again. As you walk out of the classroom or as you walk out of the room after the class, you will have immediately that thing. I am seeing him and therefore he or she is different from me. That's all. It will take place. So don't get frustrated. This is going to occur. And all the time you have to negate. What I see is non-different from me. This is it's very ulta, what we have started with. Object of consciousness, object of I is non-I. We started with that, if you remember that. The object of I, consciousness, is not I. And now we are saying object of consciousness is consciousness. That's all. Object of consciousness is consciousness. That's our motto actually. Then why did you create a erroneous perception, erroneous knowledge in your mind? Well, because you started with this I and non-I. You made two boxes also. I remember that. Two boxes. One of I, other is non-I. And then you started. And beyond dermis, epidermis, everything. Well, everything is non-I. From dermis onwards inside. And all this is I. And then you started, this body also is object of knowledge and therefore non-I. You drop the body in the non-I box. And then you drop the mind also in non-I box. Everything you started dropping in the non-I box. Till I reached almost zero. All the names and forms. All the names and forms I have put into non-I box. And then I has nothing to left. That is why this Buddhists are right, it seems, that I am a zero. Because anything I claim, you will say, hey, it is an object of your knowledge. If you say I am mind, no, mind is object of your knowledge. Ignorance is object of your knowledge. And the knowledge is object of your knowledge, that is consciousness. Right? Whatever the knowledge you have pertaining to any branch, you say that is also object of your knowledge. Memory is object of knowledge, everything is object of knowledge, object of consciousness, I mean. And therefore, you say the consciousness is shunyam. That's what Buddhists tell. Buddhists tell the same thing. Atma is shunyam. Because any name and form is ultimately object of consciousness. That's anatma. And therefore, this is how it started with, right? Do you remember that? And therefore, but ultimately, we proved that I, the consciousness, includes everything. Includes everything. Everything is non-separate from me. Any object of consciousness is non-separate from the consciousness. That's all. Consciousness covers it. Because object is outside the boundary of a consciousness. Try to prove. Try to prove. Object is which is away from the consciousness. Try to prove it. Even a concept of non-existence also is within consciousness. Concept of absence, concept of non-existence also is within the consciousness. Cannot be proven. Everything is within consciousness, non-separate from consciousness. And therefore, basically, consciousness is everything. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Everything is I. Everything is Brahman. This is how it is, we have to understand. And therefore, perception proves non-duality. Perception proves non-duality. That's how we have to see. Then there is now objection. Nanu sahankarasya kinchignyasya jivasya nirahankarasya sarvajnasya ishvarasya tattvamasi iti mahavakyat katham abheda buddhihi स्यात् उभयोः विरुद्ध धर्म आक्रांतत्वात् ननु. So you will find in Bhashyam and in various commentaries in Vedanta, you will find this word nanu. Nanu means a doubt, Purvapaksha. Nanu always, whenever the nanu comes in Bhashyam or anywhere, you have to immediately think that some doubt is created against Siddhanta, against the principle of the Vedanta. And so Nanu, they say Nanu means look, have a look at this, or look, we want to say something to you. So it's an objection, basically. Nanu indicates an objection. Katham abheda buddhihi syat. how can there be the knowledge of a Abheda Buddhi? Buddhi means knowledge. Abheda Buddhi, Advaita Buddhi. Katham, how can there be the knowledge of non-difference? Why? Jivasya sahankarasya kinchignyasya Ishvarasya nirahankarasya sarvajnasya iti sarvajnasya tattvamasi iti mahavakyat. Tattvamasi iti mahavakyat. Well, from this sentence which reveals the oneness between this individual and the total, how can there be this a oneness between Jiva and Ishvara? Why? Because sahankarasya kinchidnyasya jivasya. These two are adjectives of a Jiva. Sahankara. Somebody, how can we find the adjective in a sentence? Very simple. They all are in the same case. When the words are in the same case, they are related in between. They have a connection of a adjective substantive relationship. You have to find what is substantive. That is your job. That's a responsibility. That Jivasya definitely is a substantive. Jivasya is a Sashti, Ramasya. So it is a sixth case. And therefore the word Kinchidnyasya also must be related to Jiva. Sahankarasya related to Jiva. Both are in the sixth case. And therefore Sahankarasya and Kinchignyasya both are adjective to the word Jiva, which is a substantive. So Sahankarasya ahankarena saha vartate iti sahankara. So the Jiva is a Sahankara, he is an individual ego. Well, and individual ego means that ego is a loaded ego. Oh Bapre, so much. If ego is very light, that's of a Bhakta. Bhakta's ego is light because whatever he has, all the adjectives he has given to Ishvara. Yeah, all he has given. So Sukha, Dukkha, etc. All this, this ego is loaded ego. And therefore he says, I am Sukhi, I am Dukhi, I am this, I am that, I am that, I am that. And so I has become so heavy now. No, he could not lift that I. And therefore Bhagavan says that you come to me and surrender to me, and at my feet put everything. Just keep only I sense, you keep. Only I sense. Don't add after that. I am Sukhi, no, that you give it to me. Ishvara has given me Sukham, Ishvara has given me Dukkham, Ishvara has given me, is a Karma Phala Data, etc., etc. Everything you give it to me. Oh, I am knowledgeable. Oh, don't take. Knowledge is due to me. This is due to me. That is due to me. You tell me like that. Bhagavan says that. So making ahankara light is the devotion. Actually, that's a devotion. Keep your ahankara very light so that you can make it poo-poo ultimately. You can make it poo-poo. Poo-poo means you can show it that this is mithya. That's all it is. A loaded ego cannot understand that the ahankara is mithya. Ego is mithya. Sometimes the loaded ego is crystallized also, and you can see on the face also, in that brukuti. In that brukuti you will see, instead of remaining this straight, it remains like this. Like cow it remains. I mean, person is feeling so proud. He's proud, his pride which is connected to his ego is crystallized on the face. You can see, even without talk, you can understand this fellow is very proud. My God. That Vedanta is very far from such a people, Anyways, it's ultimately ahankara. To make ahankara light is a job of karma yoga, is a job of a devotion. Ultimately, bhakti makes this person. And that's how they say more of Ishvara in your life and less of you. Yeah, more of Ishvara and less of you means what? Ego is very light now. That is what it is. Anyway, so Jiva is a sahankara, ahankarena saha vartate. Is all the time with a individual ego, with a lot of, is a full 500-page biography, and so much he can write about himself. And he can even write in volumes also. First volume of autobiography, then second volume, and third volume, etc. All that is there. In 500 pages or even 1,000 pages, he will tell everything about him except one thing, that I am free from the ego. He won't tell that. Whatever he says is all embellishment of ego. All embellishment, varieties of embellishments, and all mithya. The ego itself is mithya. The very I sense is mithya. Then what you talk about, what is connected to ego is everything mithya. Entire autobiography is a mithya. Anyway, so sahankara is kinchit gnasya. Kinchit means, such kinchit means something. There is one kinchit. Then there is another word kinchana. Kinchana, kinchit and kimapi all have a same meaning. Kim plus api, kimapi. Kim plus chana, kinchana. Kim plus chit, kinchit. Chit, chana and api. These are the suffixes added to show uncertainty. Uncertainty. And here it is also used in the sense of a alpatvam, less. So kinchit gnasya means alpa gnasya, who is who knows very little. I mean, he has ignorance. Kinchit gnasya, and then sahankarasya kinchit gnasya, who is of a limited knowledge. Jivasya, how can you say tattvamasi? The jiva is like this, who is has a limited knowledge, who is having an individual ego, and nirahankarasya, sarvagnasya, ishwarasya. These are the adjectives of a ishvara. Nirahankarasya, nirgataha ahankaraha yasmat, saha nirahankaraha, well, who doesn't have a I sense at all. Sarvagnasya, and who is all knowledge. How can there be oneness? And you are showing through tattvamasi. Tattvamasi. Tvam means you, that jiva, and tat means that ishvara. And you say asi, you are that. And therefore, that cannot be equated. Why? Because one is sahankara, one is endowed with the individual ego. Ishvara is nirahankara, he is free from the ego. And then kinchit jnaha, jiva is basically having a limited knowledge. And Ishvara is sarvajnaha, all knowledge. How can you say? Tattvamasi iti mahavakyat katham abheda buddhi syat. So, through this mahavakya called Tattvamasi, you are trying to prove that jiva is Ishvara. How can it be so? Why? Ubayoho viruddha dharma akrantatvat. Because both this, Ubayoho means this jiva and Ishvara, well, they are being possessed of a contradictory attributes. So we will have to think that way, that they cannot be one. Okay, let's go ahead now. Iti chet na sthula sukshma sharirabhimani tvam padavachyarthah upadi vinirmuktam samadhi dasha sampannam शुद्धं चैतन्यं त्वं पदलक्ष्यार्थः स्थूल सूक्ष्म शरीर अभिमानी, one who is identified with this physical and subtle bodies. Tvam padavachyarthah, that is the immediate meaning of the word tvam, immediate meaning of the word jiva. And upadi vinirmuktaha, one who is free from this limiting adjuncts, free from these upadis. Samadhi dasha sampannam, the one who obtains during the experience of subject-object resolution, called deep sleep state, or a moment of joy, right? So that one is Shuddha Chaitanyam. Well, he is the one, he is a pure consciousness. That is Tvam Pada Lakshartha. That is the implied meaning of the word Tvam. So, Iti Chet Na. Iti Chet means, if that is your argument, that you are saying that jiva is a sahankara, jiva is having individual ego, jiva is having a limited knowledge, and Ishvara is free from ego, Ishvara is all knowledge, and therefore they cannot be one. Because ubayoho viruddha dharmayoho akrantatvat, because both are possessed of and contradictory attributes, and therefore they cannot be one. If you are saying such, if you are arguing like this, we are saying no, it is not correct. Because Sthula Sukshma Sharir Abhimani Tvam Pada Vachyartha. Well, the immediate meaning of the word Tvam Pada Vachyartha, I have told you what Vachyartha means, immediate meaning, and Lakshartha means it is an implied meaning. So the immediate meaning of the word Tvam, that is you or the Jiva, is one who is identified with both the bodies. Sthula Sharir Abhimani, Sukshma Sharir Abhimani, who is identified with this physical body. Abhimani means identified with the physical and subtle bodies. So Abhimani identification is not a physical process, please understand. It is your error that I am body. That's all. You identified with the body means you equate yourself with the body. You say I am body. That's all it means. What that's all Swamiji? I am the body. Yeah, but that is what it is. I am the body. And I am the body means really speaking the consciousness has identified with the body through some kind of a physical process. No. It's simply in your mind. I am body. Well, the very I notion is established in the consciousness. I notion is non-separate from consciousness. Body is also non-separate from consciousness. No one has a pratishtha other than Brahman. The very I sense, existence of a I sense or ego is due to existence of Brahman, existence of a Atma, existence of a consciousness. And therefore it cannot have any other establishment. It is established in the Brahman. Everything, entire world is non-separate from the Brahman. And therefore, it is not that the I sense is, Swamiji, at the time of ignorance, I sense is established in body. And now when knowledge takes place, that I sense established now in Brahman. No. It is not that. Otherwise, I has a borrowed existence from the body. If in the state of ignorance, you say I is established in the body, if you say so, then definitely the I arises out of the body. Or existence of I is possible due to existence of the body. It's not correct. The very body's existence is from the existence of Atma. And the very existence of I is the existence of Atma. And therefore, ultimately, everyone has a pratishtha in Brahman only. Or in Atma, which is existence, which is consciousness. And therefore, it is simply in your mind that I belongs to body or I am body. That's a grace. That is why even in the state of ignorance, I indicates Brahman alone. Only you should know that I indicates Brahman or I arises out of Brahman. And that is Satyam, and I-ness is mithya, ego is a mithya, etc. That you should realize. And therefore, all the things are being non-separate from the Brahman. Even you know or you don't know, that's not a problem. Even if you know or if you don't know, well, the Jiva is all the time established in Brahman alone. If you know, you will know you are Brahman. If you don't know, you take yourself as a limited being. That's error. Simply error. It's called confusion centered on the self. That's all it is. And therefore, whatever the Brahman is, that is you, even in the state of ignorance. So you take I am having a birth and death. Well, that's not correct. That's not correct. So even when you see that I am happy, I am unhappy, I am this, I am that, that's still you are not. That's a grace. And people feel that in the state of ignorance, I is established in the body. So that has to be pulled out from the body, and then I has to be established in Brahman. That is called Brahmanishtha. It is not that. Everything has a nishtha in Brahman. Could you follow what I am saying? The very existence of I is due to existence of Brahman. That is the self-existent. And therefore, basically, even if I don't know, I am Brahman. That's what I want to convey. Whether you know or not, I am Brahman. When you say I am having a birth and death and everything, at that time also it has no birth and death. Very I has no birth and death. Only you have error that you have birth and death, because that you have misplaced the I-ness, the sense of I in body, and which is not correct. You have misplaced it, and therefore it's just error. It's just error. And the reality is, at that time also, I is established only in Brahman. Everything is existent. The very isness in everything, well, is due to Brahman. That cannot, it's non-separate. You cannot do anything. Even pot has some kind of a notion that I have pratishtha in gold or something else. Well, pot has a pratishtha only in clay. That he cannot, avoid. That's a fact of the thing. And therefore, basically, pot is established in clay. Whether pot thinks it this or not, it is a different thing. If pot thinks that it has a different adhisthana, well, it's a mistake on the part of the pot. And that mistake, because of that mistake, he suffers. The reality remains is pot has a pratishtha in clay only. Pot is non-separate from the clay. It can never be made separate. That is how it is. Of course, Bhagavan goes to one step further in the 14th chapter, and he says, I think in the 14th chapter or 16th chapter, at the end, he says, Brahmanaha pratishtha aham. Well, Brahman has a pratishtha in aham. He goes to another extent. Brahman, I have a pratishtha in Brahman, that's one thing. He says, no, Brahman has a pratishtha in aham. Means Brahman is all the time obtained as a aham. All the time. So whenever you are using I, in fact it is indicating Brahman. Only thing is, I don't know that. That's all it means. That's all it means. So all Brahmanaha pratishtha means Brahman's upalabdhi. Brahman is, where is the Brahman which is Jagat Karan? Where is Brahman which is Jagat Karan? Where is that Brahman which is Jagat Karan? Oh, where is it? Brahman is available right here, sir. One who is inquiring and questioning that I itself has a pratishtha. The Brahman has a pratishtha in this I. Brahman is obtained as I. Need not go anywhere else to find that Brahman. Very I indicates Brahman, non-separate from Brahman, and therefore Brahman is obtained as I. Very, very beautifully. I have never seen such a statement in which Bhagavan says like that, We all say Jagat is non-separate from Brahman, and therefore everything, even the eye sense is non-separate from Brahman. Body is non-separate from Brahman. Everything has a pratishtha or a substratum in Brahman. Everything's adhishthanam is Brahman. Bhagavan says, no, Brahman has a pratishtha in aham. That's how it is. And therefore, Brahman is as obtained all the time as I. Better you know it. That's all. If you don't know it, you will have a pratishtha in something else. You will have a pratishtha in something else. That is notion. It is not really true. It's a notion that I have pratishtha in the body. I am the body. I is obtained in the body. That is your notion. It is at the notion level. The reality at that time also is Brahman is obtained as I. Because I is conscious and Brahman is consciousness, of course, obtained as a I. That is what even in Taittiriya it has been told. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Oh, this Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which is Abhaditam and which is not all knowledge, which is Swarupam of knowledge, and which is Anantam, which is limitless. Oh, where is that Brahman? Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman Soshnude Sarvan Kaman Samashnuta iti Yaha Veda. One who knows this Satyam Jnanam Brahma, Anantam Brahma, where? Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. It's right there in this Guha. It is right there in this Antakaranam. Better you go with the torch and find out in that cave, where is it? It's obtained as a I. Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam. This Brahman, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is obtained as I. That's the knowledge. That's all. This is the knowledge. What is Brahmanishta is the clarity of this, that I and Brahman are equal thing. That's all. But Swamiji, then I sense still continue. That's what I told you, it is Badhitam. Don't worry. So long as this body is there, the reflection will be there, and so that I sense continues. Let it continue. So what? Let it continue. But in fact, wherever I arises, you say I am Brahman. Because what is obtained as I is nothing but the Brahman. And the clarity regarding this I and Brahman are equal is called Brahmanishta. Yeah. The clarity. Nishtha has nothing like getting established. More and more, getting more and more established in Brahman. Don't think any kind of don't do any kind of imagination. Have a clarity that I indicates Kevalam Brahma, Shuddham Brahma, Puja Swamiji calls it as a Upadhi Vinirmuktam. Upadhi Vinirmuktam means Shuddham, Shuddham Chaitanyam, free from all the Upadhis. Shuddham Chaitanyam we need not tell. Chaitanyam is all the time Shuddham. But we use still Shuddham Chaitanyam because Upadhi Vinirmuktam. Because all the time you see the consciousness with some Upadhi. You see with the mind, you see with the senses, you see with the physical body, all the time. And therefore we take the consciousness as a conscious being. And so all the time you refer the consciousness through the Upadhis. So actually, but I am just consciousness obtained. There is pure consciousness, Shuddham Chaitanyam. And Samadhi Dasha Sampannam, very nicely said. See, Samadhi Dasha Sampannam, everyone is getting a Samadhi. That is a deep sleep state in which subject-object resolution takes place. That is what even in yoga also. Nirvikalpaka Samadhi means what? All Vikalpas goes. The Vikalpa is nothing but this subject-object division. Vikalpa means a division. Subject-object division resolves. We have in fact other experiences of Samadhi. We feel the Samadhi is something really very big thing. Swamiji, it is not. Samadhi, we have an experience of Samadhi in other places also. If I am interested in a cricket match and and there is a World Cup, and India is in the final, and definitely if we win, we will have a World Cup. And the last few hours, the last over is going on, and we have a 6 runs to do, and 6 balls are there, and every ball, this fellow who is sitting that, who is watching this on the television, he has come from the chair also, he has come out like this, almost on the edge of the chair. He may fall down also, but he has come out, and he and the subject and the television has to become one. Not television, sir. That cricketer, he has identified with the cricketer who is going to bat now, and the ball is thrown to him, and he feels now he is going to hit the sixer, and this fellow has not done anything. He just placed it like this. He placed it. Ayyo, now 5 balls and 6 runs. And his mother is shouting, go and get some curd, yogurt from the shop. This fellow is not listening. What is time? What is place? Nothing. He is totally one with the object. Totally one with the object. This I am talking about cricket match. It is happening the people who are voracious readers. They start reading some novel, Alfred Hitchcock or something. And they start reading. And they read and read and read and read. Night 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And his wife comes and tells, what is this? You have to go to office tomorrow morning. What are you doing? Go and sleep. Oh, what's the time now? It's 2 o'clock. So you are not conscious of time, not conscious of place, not conscious of any other thing. You and the object will become one. That's called Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. All the Vikalpas dissolve. That state also we can take here. Or our standard example, moment of happiness where subject and object of desire, the desirer and the object of desire both have resolved. Right? We have seen that. In the moment of joy, both are resolved. Or deep sleep state where subject-object division is resolved. There is no seer, no dreamer, no taster, no smeller in deep sleep. And no object of smell, no object of taste, nothing. Samadhi Dasha Sampannam Upadhi Vinirmuktam. Subject is with the consciousness with a particular name and form becomes a subject. Consciousness with another name and form becomes an object. And consciousness along with the thought becomes the process of the seeing, etc. Process of cognition. So even thought is non-separate from the consciousness, everything basically. So consciousness is devoid of all the upadhis being mithya. And therefore they are just appearances. And that too, consciousness alone appears along with the Maya in all the names and forms. And therefore they are all non-separate, they are all mithya. And therefore they should not be counted. Well, you cannot count 2 entities, you have to count only one entity when you see a pot. Really entity, the reality is one alone, that is clay. And therefore, this is how So this is Tvampada Lakshartha. Well, devoid of the gross body, devoid of the subtle body, devoid of the pranas, I mean devoid of the mind, devoid of organs of action, etc. Well, and which is obtained in the deep sleep state, free from the gross body and subtle body, or obtained in the waking state in a moment of joy, or even in the such a experience of a samadhi kind of a thing in which subject object division resolves. Well, Shuddha Chaitanyam obtained at that time, which is free from all the limitations, is Tvampada Lakshartha. So, Sthula Shur Abhimani, Sthula Sukshma Sharir Abhimani, Tvampada Vachyartha. So, consciousness plus gross body, consciousness plus subtle body, right? So, gross body plus subtle body, all this obtained in this state of waking, well, is called Tvampada Vachyartha. We call it as a Jagrat Purusha, we call it as a Vishwa, is a Tvampada Vachyartha. Jagrat Purusha, waker. And then consciousness of plus subtle body. Ultimately in dream, mind only is there. And therefore consciousness plus subtle body, not that also not complete subtle body, part of the subtle body, but let's say subtle body, is this Taijasaha, dreamer. That is Tvampada Vachyartha. Immediate meaning of the Jiva, immediate meaning of Tvampada is either a Vishwa, waker, is a dreamer, or even a deep sleeper also you can take, Prajna, even the rudimentary ego, you can say. And then still, but that is all a deep sleeper or a waker or a dreamer, all are a immediate meaning of a Tvampada. But Upadhi Vinirmuktam, if you remove this upadhis, if you remove the upadhis, means you understand they are mithya. You cannot remove upadhi. What is non-separate, you cannot remove. You cannot remove that. How can you remove? What you remove, made it separate, then it has an independent existence. Then where is the question of it is mithya? When the existence is commonly shared by two things, it's actually one thing alone. Yeah. So pot and clay both share existence. A pot is and clay is. Well, you have to tell only one thing is. Only one thing is. And that is how it is. Therefore, you cannot separate. You cannot separate clay from the pot. Right? You cannot separate clay from the pot. So, Upadhi Vinirmuktam is understanding. It's a cognitive chain. Well, it's a cognitive. Purely cognitive. But you will understand the Upadhi as mithya. That is called Upadhi Vinirmuktam. So, understanding pot as a mithya is called making clay free from the pot. There is no physical process, because there are not two things united like this. Then you can, through physical process, you can make it separate. It is not like that. And therefore, Upadhi Vinirmuktam Samadhi Dasha Sampannam, and you are able to resolve. See, that sort it shows. So you are able, how the subject gets resolved. It's amazing. Suppose the physical body and the consciousness are two independent things. Then naturally they cannot resolve. Because if they are independent, then in the state of resolution both will be separate. I mean, the process of resolution is the process of separation. If one thing resolves into other, that shows actually that thing was mithya. It was non-separate. Yeah, it has got an existence from that thing and now resolves into that thing. That's all it is. So the pot is born of clay and pot resolves into clay. That's all it is. If anything resolves into something else, then it has arisen from that only. And therefore it is mithya. And therefore the existence of the very clay has been borrowed by the pot. And that's how pot resolves into clay. Pot has arisen out of clay, pot resolves into clay. Would you follow? And therefore, Upadhi Vinirmuktam, Samadhi Dasha Sampannam, Shuddha Chaitanyam, Tvampada Lakshartha, that is Tvampada Lakshartha. That is the implied meaning. And now Lakshana, of course, has to be done. Lakshana, there are three types of Lakshana. I think I should talk to you about those Lakshanas tomorrow. But let's, anyway, let's go a little ahead. एवं सर्वज्ञत्वादि विशिष्ट ईश्वरः तत्पदवाच्यार्थः उपाधिशून्यं शुद्ध चैतन्यं तत्पदलक्ष्यार्थः एवं in this manner similarly सर्वज्ञत्वादि विशिष्टः who is endowed with all knowledge ईश्वरः तत्पदवाच्यार्थः. So you are saying that Sarvagnya, Ishvara, etc. and this Jiva was Alpagnya, and therefore how can they be equal? Yeah, that's correct. That's very correct. And but only thing is, our idea is to make you understand that those differences are there between them. Like Alpagnya, that is called Kinchignya, and here Sarvagnya. Here Sahankaraha, here Nirahankaraha. Those differences are there. One is endowed with the ego, one is not having any kind of ego, I sense. And one is all knowledge, one is with a limited knowledge. You find the difference between Jiva and Ishvara, that is there. But still we are saying, we are putting an equation, Tat is equal to Tvam, Jiva is equal to Ishvara. Purposely we are putting. In fact, the very equation has that purpose. Otherwise the equation would not be there. What do you mean? Because, see, when equation is required only when there is a difference, apparently. But inherently there is no difference. There the equation is required. And therefore such kind of differences you are finding, and therefore you are saying this Mahavakya is not correct, which shows the oneness between the two, is not correct. Well, what you say is not correct, because apparent differences are there. Inherently there is non-difference, oneness. That's what, to prove that we are giving you this equation. What is the equation? Tat is equal to Tvam. Tattvamasi. And I told you this regarding equation, right? When phi is equal to phi, then you need not put equation. Yeah, because apparently also there is no not difference. Apparently also non-difference. And well, 6 is equal to 7. If they are really different, then also you need not require equation. You cannot put equation, in fact. You cannot put equation. Equation is when both the things, on both the sides, apparent differences are there, but well, inherently there is oneness. Essentially there is oneness. In that case equation works, and I have given you example, right? 5 plus 6 is equal to 14 minus 3, right? I told you that equation. So both the sides are looking different. 5 and 6, here 14 and 3, here plus, here minus, everything different. But essentially they are one. That is where, so Tvam Pada Vachyartha and Tvam Tat Pada Vachyartha has a difference. Tat Pada Vachyartha also with Upadhi, Maya Upadhi, we call Sarvagnya, Sarvashaktiman, Karma Phaladata, etc. And Tvam Pada Vachyartha, along with the Upadhi, he is Kinchitnyaha, with a limited knowledge. But what is the Upadhi because of which you are telling he is having a limited knowledge? Ignorance is a Upadhi. Because of the ignorance, he has a limited knowledge. If ignorance is not, then we call it what? We call it Sarvagnya. Therefore, ignorance is a Upadhi. Antakaranam is a Upadhi, you can say. Because every moment only single thought arises. Every moment. Single thought. And single thought has a single object of knowledge. And therefore, he is having a knowledge in a parts. He is never having all knowledge. All knowledge means what, you know? I just tell you, all knowledge means all knowledge at all the time. There is nothing like that. Right now I know one thing, and in future I know something else. Then he is not all knowledge. All the knowledge means in a single moment, all knowledge means it doesn't require a mind. Mind means a single thought arises, and a single thought arises has a single object as an object of knowledge. And therefore, basically, if you don't have a mind and if you still have a knowledge, you will be all knowledge. Mind is one, which makes you basically Alpagnya. Because you know something at this moment, then next moment something else, then next moment something else. And past also you knew few things. So one who does not have a Upadhi called Antakaranam. Yeah, Ishvara. Ishvara has a Upadhi called Maya. And that Maya means, due to Maya is all knowledge. And I am limited knowledge. Well, due to Antakaranam. I identify with Antakaranam. And therefore, so this is Tvampada Vachyartha and Tvampada Lakshyartha has this kind of a differences. And Sarvajñatva, etc. Vishishtaha. So Vishishta means endowed with. One who is endowed with this all knowledge. Ishvaraha Tatpada Vachyartha is the immediate meaning of the word Tat. Upadi Shunyam, free from the Upadi, free from name and form. This basically they say limiting adjunct, etc. Free from name and form. That's all. No form. Upadi Shunyam is free from form. Formless, limitless. Anything which has a form is limited. That's how Upadi is always called limiting adjunct. Which basically Upadi, the dharma of Upadi is seen as a dharma of the consciousness. That's the problem. Upadi doesn't make something limited. Please understand. Upadi is one which is non-separate from the consciousness. All the Upadi, all names and forms. That is the entire universe. All the names and forms are non-separate from the consciousness. But then, due to ignorance, the attributes of the form called limitations, etc., are seen in the consciousness. They are not there. They cannot make consciousness limited. What is limitless cannot be made limited. But only it is seen as a limited. The way like the crystal remaining colorless appears red. Same way consciousness remaining limitless because of a non-separate, because of this name and form being non-separate from it, the name and form as though creates a limitation in consciousness. Therefore, Antakaranam or this gross body or subtle body makes as though limited. What? Consciousness. That's called Jiva. So Jiva appears limited due to this Upadi. It is not limited. And that's how right now if somebody teaches me that you are limitless, I am able to understand that. I am able to appreciate that. Well, that shows that I have not become limited. I have taken myself as a limited due to this Upadi, which is non-separate from the consciousness. Could you follow what I am saying? And therefore, crystal is colorless, even though when it appears red. But that red flower or something makes the crystal as though red, makes as though red. Same way, Upadi dharmas are seen in the consciousness because Upadi is non-separate from the consciousness. That is what self-confusion is. That's what the self-confusion is. Self is not seen as it is. Self is seen something from the standpoint of what is non-separate from the self. Self is taken as a something which is non-separate from the self. So really speaking, the non-separate thing is the Upadi, which is Anatma. Well, self is taken as a Anatma. Atma is taken as Anatma, that is self-confusion. And ultimately, well, it is really speaking, it is not so. Upadi has a dharma of, Upadi has a limitation. That's correct. But the limitations are not seen in Upadi but seen in the Atma because it is non-separate. And therefore, this is how it is. So, Shuddha Chaitanyam, consciousness, Tatpada Lakshyartha, that is the implied meaning of the word Tat. Well, you will make it even Tatpada Vachyartha, which is Ishvara. If you make it free from the Upadi, make it free means you know that Maya is Mithya. Through Maya he is called Ishvara. Well, he is actually free from he is just a consciousness. Appears as a Sarvajñah, etc., Sarvashaktiman, etc. through Maya Upadi, which is Mithya. And therefore I need not count it. Through Maya Upadi it repeats like. Anyway, we will see something more tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.